my job.
What? Really?
I had a heart and a kid who needed the heart, and now they're both dead. I'm not going to get the opportunity. I'm tired of fighting. For the record, I don't like the way this turned out any more than you do. But this is the world we live in.
No, I'm fine.
And we'll get our way on just about everything. Abortion, defense, Central America, family values, a live investment climate. We have the White House locked till the year 2000 and beyond.
I got bit by the bug in high school, tried college for a year. I went to a college in Iowa. It was the only one that would take me. And I did 7 plays my freshman year and decided that I didn't like college, but I loved being on stage. So I went and auditioned for the Central School of Speech and Drama in London, England. And so at 20 years old, I went overseas to London for a year and a half, and I did, worked over there, immersed myself in incredible theater, which I recommend every chance you get, regardless of what medium it is you want to be in. I think to expose yourself to theater, even if it's not great, you know, even people are out there in this city, everybody's swinging for the fences, trying to tell stories. So I recommend that. And for me, London was incredible. And then when I was done with that, and I also did a few plays. I did a couple Shakespeare plays. I did a production of Glass Menagerie in London. Got my British Equity card, which I've never used since. Went back to through New York and decided that I wanted to continue my studies, so I studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I did 2.5, 3 years there. Studied with, I don't know if you guys know an actor named Elias Koteas. Elias was in class with me. He's a wonderful actor, Canadian actor. That's where I met my wife, and a very dear friend of mine who is now show-running House of Cards. Started out as an actor, but for me it's always little steps, and always knowing in my heart that this is what I was meant to do, this is the only thing I want to do. And you know, I never had any illusion to have a career in TV and film, ever. I thought I was going to be on stage. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway, I've done a lot of regional theater throughout the East, mainly when I lived there. And that's how I started doing theater until I was 30 years old. So if anybody here is sitting around thinking like, oh man, it just feels like so far away, I didn't step in front of a camera till I was 30. I met Mike Nichols. We know who Mike Nichols is, right? One of the best directors there are. And I walked into a room and got to sit with him for 45 minutes, and I was going to understudy Oliver Platt and David Hyde Pierce in this fantastic play. I booked the thing, and I've never had to read for him again. That 45 minutes in that one room being prepared, I did 6 films with Mike Nichols, and I never once had to read. He basically would just call me up and say, what do you want to do? And I'd say, well, I'd love to play Charlie Wilson in Charlie Wilson's War. He said, no, Tom Hanks is doing that. Within reason, what would you like to do? So again, it was just being prepared. I got a phone call from a friend who had directed me in his play on the East Coast. And he said, I'm doing it in Los Angeles. Can you do it? And I said, I can't do it. I can't, because I'm doing this thing. 2 days afterwards, they posted notice and they closed my show off Broadway. So I called them up and I said, is it still available? Yes, it was. I flew to LA, had never stepped foot in Los Angeles before. Thought I was going to be there for 10 weeks, and I was there for 10 years. All based on this play, this really great play, really great part. It garnered me representation. Being as prepared as I was able to be, and showing up on film sets, grateful. Grateful to be there, grateful to, grateful to work, grateful to meet new people, grateful to have an opportunity to do what I love to do. And I have to say, that's never left me when I walk on a film set now, because you can see ill behavior. One of the things you can arm yourselves with is walking into every situation with a big yes, if you know what I mean. It's just like yes, yes. We have no reason to complain when we have the opportunity to do what we love, whether it's in this room or whether it's working, with Mike Nichols opposite Al Pacino or John Hamm or whatever. It's all the same. All you have responsibility for is your own stuff and your love for it. Keep that sense of love and what it is and why it is you're doing this. Ultimately, that's it. The other stuff, I wouldn't, I wouldn't chase fame if it were the last thing on earth. I think sometimes some of you here, you won't be able to. It'll come with it, but don't chase it. The people who really love it, who stick around with it, who feel compelled to work, you can always find some place to work. And I try to do a play a year, just because we don't always get a chance to really cut our teeth on any, the real juicy stuff that you guys may get to do in the room here when you get to work on a great piece of text. Sometimes, and Phil will tell you, and he's a wonderful actor capable of, he's got big chops. How often is it that we really get to utilize those chops? I mean, every once in a while you get lucky. So I recommend being in class, as much as you can, because it's just like working out. It's like going to the gym. And your process, the way you work, is going to be built over the rest of your lives and careers, right? Once you flip that switch and go, look, I'm going to walk in there, I'm going to do the best I can. There's 1,000 different reasons why I'm not going to get this role, none of which has to do with whether or not I am a quote-unquote good actor or I'm capable or not of doing the work. So that's an incredibly important thing, is not taking it too personally, and it's hard to do when you're putting yourself and your soul and your creative being on the line. Take the time to prepare, read. You read those sides until you can't. I mean, it's the drudgery part of the work. I never worry about getting to an emotional place, ever. I never, if it says that I have to be racking sobs on the floor, I don't, where my fear comes? Not knowing my words. I swear to God. Sir Anthony Hopkins, he was asked, how do you prepare? He's like, I read what's on the page, and 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 I read what's on the page. So when you step on that, because here's the thing, ultimately what you want to do is you want to be prepared, you want to walk on set, and then you want to tap dance. You want to be able to, because you're not going to want to fall in love with these choices that you make. You're going to have those choices. Every time, what's beautiful about reading, I know I'm going to go off on tangents here, but what's beautiful about reading material and getting familiar with it is that every time you read it, you're going to have these ideas that are going to pop into your head. Trust that they're all going to be there. You don't have to hang on to it. Just keep on allowing yourself to be stimulated by the writing, right? You start to learn to work without a net. You get prepared on your own, and then you show up and go, bring it. And so I recommend highly that you guys, that's where you put your eggs, in that preparation basket. Just know your stuff. Your method is going to be your method, whatever it is. You're gonna have your way of working on a role, and you'll continue to develop that. Becoming successful is becoming successful in terms of your art, right? I mean, that's all it is trying to realize that, bring that off the page. And you don't always get a chance to have great material, but also service the material. Sometimes the story that you have to tell is about climbing K2, right? And it's like, okay, that's one thing I do when I read a script. It's like, okay, this is the part I'm playing. Wow, like this guy that I just did on Romeo Section, I was scaling Everest every day. Now, the next day I may go in and I may play, the story may be going to the corner store and buying a quart of milk. Do you know what I mean by that? That it's not, like sometimes you're going to be playing second lawyer on the left, and it's important to understand that there is nobility and there is art in telling that story well. Not going and climbing Everest, because that's another mistake. I see a lot of that. A lot of actors who get a supernumerary role and then all of a sudden they think they're playing Hamlet. Know the story you're telling and be true to that story, because there's art in that. Kill your babies. Be willing to kill your babies. Because ultimately, it is certainly in the medium of television and film, you're going to find that it is less. It's not our medium. You have to trust the guy behind the camera. I'll put you 3 steps ahead of every other actor out there if you just do not tie yourself personally. It's all about, let's all problem solve together. Whenever I go on, and I've had number ones by my name on the call sheet, I've been day player, everything in between. Show up, let's problem solve. How can we have fun and problem solve? When the camera rolls, it's time to work. But make those connections too. This is a question I always ask myself, is why is that scene in this episode? Why is it here? What does the audience need to know? What is the sense of it? Once you have the sense of what that is, it unlocks a bunch of things. Then I go and then I just get to the brass tacks of practically memorizing words. The brass tacks of what it is you're going to do, if you're Al Pacino or if you're just starting out, is you're going to have to take a piece of text. You're going to have to learn that piece of text. You're going to have to make it your own. You're going to have to go and talk and listen. So, I mean, get on it. Get on it. Read Shakespeare out loud at home. Buy a play. Find those parts that you want to play and read them out loud. That's it. You'll get better. And it's just like anything else. It's developing that muscle.